You're listening to Power Athlete Radio, a podcast dedicated to empowering your performance every damn day. Join former NFL pro and Power Athlete founder John Welborn as he dissects the greatest minds in strength, conditioning, and more. So whether your goal is to be the hammer, destroy mediocrity, or simply move the dirt, you've come to the right place. Now with the warm-up done, let the gains begin.
Done a brain scan on me and found that like this part of my brain was damaged.
Did you feel like that's the part of your head you led with most?
Yeah,
by the way, okay.
100%.
Were you right tackle?
I played left guard.
Left. Oh, you were left.
So I played left guard. So I was always like going this way.
Yeah.
And then the problem is when I moved me to right tackle, I was always going this way, but I was always putting the outside of my head. So for some reason, that part of like this part of my head was like what got damaged.
Do you also find yourself walking in circles to the left a lot?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, but what's weird is in my vision, I can see the TV, like looking at you straight ahead. I can't.
By the way, I can't even see the TV.
Oh, I can see the TV, but I can't see shit to my right. So like my vision for some reason is like almost like a fish. I can see far out this way, which was great at left guard because I could see everything. Right tackle, it was terrible. I had to like turn my head.
Do you think that's an adaptation for football? Or
I just think.
Or do you think that's what made you great at?
Maybe it was just one of the the weird fucking talents I had.
Yeah. Back to South by Southwest.
So the guy gets up and so many years ago they did this test and the guy scanned my brain and he did all this mapping and or Dr. Jin did. And so then the guy was like, man, we have all this stuff to remap you. We'd love to test you.
Ooh. Like
10 years later. And so the next day I go in and they put me in through all the brain mapping and they found over the last 10 years, not only did my brain DH, but my cognitive speed and my processing speed went up and basically they showed the peaks. My peak went backwards. So the guy's like, in 10 years, you figured out how to not only de-age your brain, you made yourself sharper and more efficient, and you cured all the brain damage.
Do you think that, so two questions. One regarding this, was that after all of your hyperbaric research? Okay.
Yeah, so like
that's
the hyperbaric, like the hyperbarics, the exosomes, ketogenic diet, and all the other weird shit I've been doing.
So then to put a bow on this this tiny that turned into a big lead in, showing up to prove that you weren't a flaky athlete got you in there to meet the guy to retest to get the information.
Yes.
There we go.
And then I ended up having him on the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, double win. Yeah.
And then he has a technology now where they have these like magnet helmets where they like
Magneto.
Seriously.
By the way, one of the best. I do want to know your favorite X-Men. Keep going though. Okay. Magneto helmet.
So you put this helmet on, and it has these magnets in it, and it basically rebalances the brain. So the guy sent me that and was like, "Hey, I want you to use this for 30 days." And at the time, he was like, "There's a little bit of fuzz here," and I used it, and it was super neat.
I just see you climbing into bed, and Kate's like, "Honey." No. Can you just take it off for the...
No, you don't sleep with it. So what I would do is I would get up at like 6 a.m. and before I drank any coffee, everything, I would just go like sit on the couch and like put on this magnet helmet and like do nothing for like 45 minutes to a minute for an hour.
Yeah.
And it was like, toom, 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 and it made all these crazy noises. So I kind of just did it by myself.
Okay. I just saw you walking around with like a helmet walking around the house.
It was way fucking weirder than that.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a whole like
almost
thing.
like an MRI sound, like a clicking, like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that. It helped. I don't know if it helped or not, but I did that for like 30 days. So I've come to the conclusion that when I show up, I never know what's going to happen.
Yes.
And it's like Yes Man.
Yes.
Remember Jim Carrey Yes Man?
Yes, absolutely.
But the problem too, and this is the other side of this, when you do that and then people ask you and you say yes and then you get into it, you're like, fuck. So this is way more than I fucking expected.
Why not consider saying yes a little slower? That's how I adapted. Because if I say yes, I will absolutely be there and absolutely do it. I mean, like you that way. And maybe that's part of ego, very much like this is who I am. Sure. Like, I don't know. But I will tell you that the sense of when you do, so put it off. And then you can have more time to decide versus that like serotonin moment, like the oxytocin yes moment.
Yeah, you're like yes, no, yes.
I've been asking about Summer Strong how many times, and you've been doing good. You're like I don't know. Now you're like no.
Yeah,
so,
I just can't do it.
Favorite X-Men?
Who's my favorite X-Men?
Yeah. I was watching a stand-up comedian recently, and he had an opinion on one, and I want to talk about it, but I want to know yours because of your Magneto helmet.
Which I always liked Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
I think Wolverine, the fact that
this is so funny.
I like the fact that he has a super hyper mutant immune system.
Yeah.
So he can heal from anything. I think that's a neat piece.
Okay.
But I also like the weird dichotomy that they fused his bones with adamantium, which is effectively killing him. So he's
constantly healing.
Yeah, he's constantly healing because it's trying to kill him.
Okay. Do you know the comedian Pete Holmes? Mm-mm. I was at the Comedy Store and he was in the lineup and blew my mind. You should follow him on Instagram. He's so funny and he just laughs so hard with the audience. He's one of those. Yeah. He's like, Wolverine, worst fucking X-Men possible. That's why when you said it, I started to lose it. He's like, okay, world-ending meteor. What's he gonna fucking do? He's like, he might survive, but there's nothing he can do. He's like, everybody else has an actual power to do something about it, and he's like, Wolverine, biggest waste of space. He's like, Rogue, okay, takes your strength, uses it. He has no powers. So it was this whole rant on why he's the worst, and it was like,
okay, I could see why he would be worse. Now the most powerful mutant is Magneto.
There's arguing that Jean Grey as the Phoenix.
Oh yeah, that's true. She was the level 5. Yeah, where they were there. But what I like about Magneto is he can pull all the elements out of the earth. So he can pull all the iron out of the earth and destroy the earth.
Anything. Yeah. anything that's it's wild.
So a meteor's coming, he's like,
he can just correct because it's all anything that's metal mineral.
Yeah, and he can even take Wolverine and turn him into a pretzel.
With that adamantium. Yep.
He's screwed.
There you go. So I'm just saying, and he's Gandalf. So you get a doubling down on amazing sci-fi movies.
Okay.
Ian McKellen.
You know who's even worse than Wolverine? Sabretooth, his brother. He doesn't have adamantium.
I gotta just say, I was like, this movie doesn't work because there's no way Liev Schreiber is gonna beat his brother. Liev Schreiber is the actor. But it's not Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Wait, are they saying that Sabretooth is his brother? It can't be. No.
Yeah.
He's a different guy. Sabretooth's a different guy.
Yeah, no, but they were allegedly brothers. We interrupt this episode with a shameless self-promotion. Do you have limited access to equipment and restricted time to train? Let me introduce you to Lean Enable, our Bare Essentials training program for those lean on time and equipment. Don't let limitations hold you back. Get able-bodied with our adaptive training to tackle the daily demands of life. Head to powerathletehq.com/lean and able and claim your 7-day free trial today. Now back to the show. Or half brothers.
The only thing I'm going to defend is that on the very first X-Men, and we can do a check. The very first X-Men, that guy, Sabretooth he's like this big monster guy, but he's just that guy. Hugh Jackman's brother is...
Short answer to the question of whether or not Wolverine and Sabretooth are brothers in the comic continuity is simple. They're not. And it's important for all curious Marvel fans to understand that Wolverine and Sabretooth have never been officially related.
Correct.
Okay.
But he had the monster. That's the only thing with Sabretooth. It's everybody else is seemingly human and they have this hidden talent. Sabretooth's just this big guy with fangs and nails.
Yeah, but didn't they have a weird one where they were showing flashbacks of Logan and him in the Civil War?
Yeah, that's I forgot which one that was, but yeah, that's his brother, but that's not.
So they're just buddies that had similar.
Yeah, Sabretooth just is less similar. He just had Sabretooth looking strength. It doesn't matter. His eyebrows were long, the nails were long.
Didn't he have long fingernails where Logan had?
His brother did. Logan's brother, yes, and his
Does
nails.
Logan have a brother?
Yes, that's Liev Schreiber. They were young boys. They were kicked out of the house. Yeah, it's X-Men Origins, I think.
The answer you are looking for is that movie is X-Men Origins, and Sabretooth in that movie is his brother, and people freaked out about it because in the comics books he's not.
Correct.
And so then they made that movie not canon because people hated it so much because of that.
This is what makes true fans like John very confused.
I know, exactly, because he saw that movie.
You're silly in front of your audience. I had to correct you in front of thousands of people.
I gather a lot of self-worth based upon my ability to understand the Marvel universe. It's Marvel, right? Not DC? Wolverine's Marvel? Okay.
By the way, this is the only currency in my friend group in Chicago. If you don't know the movie line, if you don't know the movie, it's you fucking idiot.
You mean in Marvel?
No, just in film period, like it's our currency as friends. Like,
but are they really focused on the Marvel movies? Because
anything. No, anything. You have to know from Dumb and Dumber to the Wayne's. You have to have the whole catalog from the 90s and themes around. Anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
This episode of Power Athlete Radio is powered by Train Heroic, the most immersive strength training app experience on the market. We've built an online training business by partnering with Train Heroic to deliver all of our world-class training programs like Jack Street, Hammer, Field Strong, and Grindstone. To learn which Power Athlete training program best suits your goals, head to powerathletehq.com/training. And if you're a coach looking to build a business with the best training tech in the business, head to trainheroic.com/powerathletehq. And now back to the show. I do like this the saber tooth thing, but now I feel stupid that I actually like Wolverine.
Listen, I for my 40th birthday, I was on tour with a client. I'm in New York. I'm by myself, which normally I think would make people sad. And I was like, there's something about getting to a point where you're happy to just like do a solo day, do a solo night. Sure. Anyway, the Music Man was playing on Broadway.
Oh wow,
Hugh Jackman as the main, and I was like, I'm getting myself I pay like $300 for a ticket. I go there and I'm just like, I want to see Wolverine sing and dance. Like I'm obsessed, and I've followed Hugh's career for years.
Wasn't he was in The Greatest Showman, right?
He was in The Greatest Showman, but he also did Oklahoma. Like he's truly like a theater kid. Like he's that guy. He's been a teacher. He's been everything. Anyway, I'm sitting there and there's a really iconic scene.
Is he gay?
I would say, I don't know, but I would say.
Are there any straight men on Broadway?
Plenty.
Oh, really?
Plenty.
I thought that was something like you just kind of had to be like.
That's like saying you're really big and muscular. You must be a NFL player. It's like, that's not.
Well, yeah, I am.
You can make anybody. Like my brother's 6'5", 280. He's never played past high school.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I see what you mean. Broadway. I don't think Broadway means gay.
I just thought like
there's a lot of conversations in around
whether or not
Hollywood that he's.
Well, who cares?
Correct.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I just kind of always thought that he.
Well, he's been married for like 30 years, the same woman.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think they just split.
Oh.
So I don't know. Listen, when Hugh texts
he's incredible.
Me, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's
but there's
incredible.
this iconic scene, and I grew up watching musicals, and it's like there's a train scene, and there's salesmen that are going into this town, and basically the Music Man, he's a snake salesman. He sells instruments that like he tells you he's going to make a band, and it's a really great movie. But you're sitting there as this train scene, and all these guys are like. They're basically singing their lyrics to the beat of the train, and they're talking and they're singing and they're da-da-da-da-da. And then at one point you're just kind of watching all these other actors, and then Hugh Jackman just gets up and he says something, and everyone just goes like, blah! Like we go bananas because you're like, it's Wolverine. Like he's so tall and he's broad and he's like doing it, and the crowd is going nuts, like hanging from the rafters, like it's like a Motley Crue show.
Wow. And
then he just sits there and he kind of like breaks the fourth wall, and he's like, keep the applause going. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he just knocked it out of the park. But that's how obsessed I am with Wolverine, because I literally went to see Hugh on Broadway. Yeah. But he was incredible, talented and fun. And like, also like his co-star.
Seems like a good dude.
I feel like, this is going to sound creepy. I feel like we'd be friends. Yeah. Because I hear my father say that. Like when he's like, because I've been working with Arnold. I've known Arnold for years, but like he goes, I just think Arnold and I would be friends. I'm like, Dad, take it easy, okay? You're born 2 years apart. You both like weights. I don't know if that means friendship. Yeah. I don't know, but like now I'm saying it about Hugh Jackman. I'm like, I don't know. I think we'd have a connection. Yeah. Anyway, Hugh, I'm available. Okay. To be your friend. Anything. Your trainer.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about the Arnold thing?
Yeah, we can. We do it. It's kind of. I feel like it's happened really fast, but then very slow at the same time.
You called me in March. Yep. So it was just last month when I was in Vegas. You called to kind of break the news, and which I think is when you told me it sounded incredible. You know,
you said it the best way. You're like, I feel like you've been drafted by like the best team in the league. Yeah. And so my history with Arnold starts as like a 10-year-old girl, you know, bringing Conan the Barbarian framed pictures to show and tell. Mm. And so for me, I saw this like sword wielding hero that was like friends with really muscular, strong women. Because you have to think there's Conan, but there was also Red Sonja for any of your deep cut people. That's Brigitte Nielsen also. And I just loved it. And my dad had to break the news that like Conan wasn't a real person, and that like it's actually a guy named Arnold Schwarzenegger. And as I started to look at who Arnold was as a little kid, you know, he was muscular and talked funny and had a last name no one could pronounce, and that was my exact description. You know, I had a speech impediment, and I always looked different, and I was always bullied. So I just found like solace in knowing like this guy was totally weird for his time and totally crushing it. Yeah. And I saw success with bodybuilding and everything like that. And for a long time, I mean, everything on my walls was like the bodybuilding posters, and I had them like pasted up, and my dad and I would like lift in the basement, and I had like my tens. My dad still claims I was best in bars because of the weightlifting. But anyway, like it planted a seed with me. And so over the years, I think Arnold and I probably met, it had to be at least 12 or 13 years ago. And I think because of that, decisions like the ones that happened in March become really easy. But when you look, it's actually been a timeline of over a decade of interfaces.
No, he's been grooming you.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's always been in support. He's always been a cheerleader. His team around him is very small. His inner orbit is very small, very talented, very skilled. And I've had the pleasure of knowing them, and they've been in my corner for years. So, you know, what started as like, you know, they were doing a Pump Club meetup, which is Arnold's app, there in Santa Monica. And it was like, we're deadlifting, we're working out, and we're going to go to the office and hold the Conan sword. I'm like, I will be there. Because Adam Bornstein is like one of my longest, dearest friends. He's the ghost in the machine. He's the one that no one knows, but he's the reason people stand on his shoulders of his research, his science, his mind, his writing, and his beautiful heart. Like he's one of the guys that does it because he cares, and we share that in common. And so Adam's like, yeah, come down and come hang out. And anyway, I just saw what they were doing. It was so special. And Adam's like, you know, I want to approach Arnold about getting you involved more officially. And I said, well, yeah, easy. Yes. Working with my hero and my best friend. Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, the next call was, can you be at the Arnold Classic? Can you hang with the village? Cause we have people, we have over 140 countries represented in this app at the Pump, right? Like people are coming from all over, and especially at the Arnold Classic, it becomes a big opportunity to like, yes, see the community, but see other things and really, you know, re-socialize people. It sounds funny to talk about the pandemic, but I think people are really taking their first big leaps out of their homes in the last, I would say, 12 months. Wow. Especially in the fitness world. Even though I've seen it in group classes are finally starting to grow again, and we can talk about that too. But anyway, we met up, and like within a day, Arnold's like, Jen's one of our new head coaches. She's in the, and Adam's like, oh my God, like it just happened quick. Nice. It made sense. And I think that the value systems are aligned. We when you lead with the passion of really helping people, and you can stand on the shoulders of Arnold's 60 years of experience and not being dogmatic in any one thing, but saying, move your body, use weights, find a community, you know, have fun. It works. It's right there before you. And I think that's where fitness has kind of started to spiral out, is because everyone gets very specific, or like I said, dogmatic about it has to be this thing. That we become entertainers over educators, and Arnold has just stayed the course. And so now this app's only been around for a couple of years, but I mean, we have thousands of people in the app. And for me, the joy is, it kind of feels like another Biggest Loser moment for me, because I stepped into Biggest Loser after 15 seasons had gone by, and I got to stand on the shoulders of all of these, of a brand that was built, and I wasn't the famous person. The show was the famous person, and I got to touch lots and lots of lives. And I see that again. And Arnold right now is, and has been forever, like this skyscraper in a world of a lot of like short brown brick buildings, which I feel like in a lot of ways I've become. And I know I've shared that with you in the past, but like, I feel like I'm not going to show my tits on the internet. I'm not going to, I'm not.
Well, I know you chuckled when we were talking about it, and I was like, you mean the rise of the digital sex worker? So now like the death of the influencer.
Correct.
Because I feel like a lot of the fitness influencer stuff, like a lot of the girls that were
the boys.
Yeah, and the boys.
I gotta tell you.
And the boys that were trying to put out all this information were like, if I just get fucking railed on OnlyFans.
Oh my God. Wow, he took a turn.
No, but I mean, seriously, it's true, right? Like, I mean, like these, like a lot of the girls that were these fitness influencers are now just made the jump to digital sex worker. So, and that's like it, and it's hilarious because like things will pop up and I'll be like, oh, I remember like, you know, this was good information. And you click on the link and it takes you right to the adult fan site. And I'm like, oh shit, this person's got an OnlyFans?
Okay, so we're going to differentiate something really quick. So you talked about getting, quote, railed on the internet, but what about this? There was somebody that was a mentor in my life, helped open doors for me when I was a newbie, right, 20 years ago. And now he's doing, by the way, straight, married, terrific guy, super educated, and he's doing OnlyFans. I don't know how custom he's behaving, but he's putting on naked workouts. So he's fully nude, doing the workouts, not getting, quote, railed. Does that make you feel better or is it the same?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know. I just used that deal just because of the fact that, like, you know, you see, I don't know. I've never had an OnlyFans. I've never looked behind the curtain. When I see adult content, I assume that that's like not just like working out naked, but is that like, I guess that's adult content.
So here's what happened.
I don't know the nuances of this because it just feels a little, I don't know. I mean, but it's become very acceptable, I guess, right? Maybe to people, or maybe not.
Acceptable, I think, is an interesting word to use. I think common is a better one. It's become a better word. More common. So you're like, if you live in a city that rains a lot, the rain doesn't bother you as much. You're like, oh yeah, it's here all the time. So I think we've become calloused to that. Oh, you have an OnlyFans. You know, it becomes more common and therefore more.
Not acceptable, but
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, less stigma attached to it.
Yes, but that said, you know, I had a client. We were talking through how I got like a Instagram. I get lots of really interesting DMs. And by the way, I'm so curious which ones you get because you're your own.
I don't. I mainly get people that are either honestly, I don't really get good DMs. I'm sorry.
Come on, John.
No, I get good DMs.
Give me a juicy one.
I get good DMs from people that have either been influenced by the information, follow the training, or like so-and-so, you know, or NFL stuff. But I never really get any like weird perverted things where I read it and I'm like, oh, gross. Like, I just don't get that stuff.
Oh God, I bet there's one there's a nugget just hidden deep in your DMs.
But I also only found about a month ago that there is like
request.
Yeah, and then there's like multiples.
Yes.
Like you can kind of click through into things that don't get seen.
Yes.
And I actually cruised through it and like
just a Tuesday, had an hour to kill at jiu-jitsu
somebody
practice.
said to me, "Hey, I sent you a DM." I'm like, "I never saw it," and they're like, "Oh, maybe it went to the requests." And so I had to like
find it.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say I had to ask like where, and then I was like, "Oh, you got to go here," and I went to the request and I was like, "Oh,"
yeah.
And it was just a lot of spam. It was a lot of like weird shit, like spam, like, "Hey, I want to help you blow up your Instagram to 1 billion people." And
yeah,
I'm like,
it's marketing. I know. So I know we digress.
Do you get a lot of like?
Yeah, well, so that's where my story is going. So like, I got one, and it was like $5,000. It's $5,000 basically. I'm cliff noting because it was a creepy note. $5,000 for basically one Skype session. It was like the request.
Oh. And
so I'm sitting with my client, and my clients that I see 4 or 5 times a week, like, you know, no topic is off the table because like you see someone a lot, and we're talking through, and he goes, "Well, what would you do for $5,000?" I'm like, "Nothing. Come on." He's like, "Okay, say, put on pink nail polish on your toes." I go, I'm like, "Nah." He goes, $25,000. Put on pink nail polish on your toe, and I'm like, "No." He goes, $100,000. So obviously we're testing this theory of like, what would it take? So I go
just to take pictures of your feet and send.
Well,
them
like let's say a videotape of me putting toenail polish on. Let's just say that's not what he requested, but let's say. So I go for $100K. Yeah, I'll put it on.
Yeah.
And then he goes, aha, okay. So now we have a monthly toenail polish date for $100, whatever that is. And then they go, well, can you move the camera back just a little more? Right. And that, and he kind of like, gotcha. It was like, because what starts as, I just want to see you in a bikini doing squats. I'm like, I'm in a bikini all the time.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's good money. I'm not showing myself. I'm not being sexualized. And I think that boundary to that we're talking about that becomes common from the outside of like people that are doing it becomes very common for you. And you get calloused. And then you think, well, I have a relationship with this person now. And gosh, she's paying for my kids' college tuition. And okay, Gary, I'll do it. Okay, I'll back the camera up. Right? And then you start to blur those lines, not just with the person, but with your own standards. And I think that's what's getting really tricky. And I see it even, forget OnlyFans, I see it on social media. I see women that I absolutely love and respect and think are incredible women and people and partners and mothers and everything. And I'm like, suddenly I'm seeing what used to be like, you know, shorts in a sports bra flexing workout picture. Like, okay, you're showing your body. Our good friend Neil Kamimura is always like, showing my knives is like you showing your body, Jen. Like that's your life's work and it's okay to show it. But then you see them in bikinis. Then you see them cold plunging. Then the bikinis get smaller. And now I just saw one where it was like a get ready with me video. And the women are like they'll still be in like on a towel and like they'll have their clothes. You're like, hey, get ready with me on camera. And you're seeing like parts of their naked body in these flashes. And I'm like, wait, how did we get here? And that's how. And I think it's you slowly callous to your own standards. And you're like, well, I did that last week and it performed really well. But like what I think is like my social media has barely grown in years. Yeah. But my integrity is shot through the roof. Yeah. I don't care. Like every single person there wants to be there. Yeah. And if any woman and any guy, because I don't want to make it gender specific, but if you're objectifying your body to grow for audience engagement, you're not engaging the right audience. Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah. And by the way, had I been doing that, there's no way Arnold would have said, I want Jen. There's no way Arnold's going to go to somebody that doesn't have integrity, which really becomes, I had the conversation with buddy Joe Cayley last night. Integrity is originality. Yeah. Because you are sticking to your morals, your ideals, like yourself. And everybody's lost that integrity. And that's why it's like, we have a joke in LA where every girl looks the same now because they're getting the same facial surgery. Yeah. They're getting the same lip job, the same nose. They all look like the Kardashians. Yeah. And so that's why this death of the influencer, tell me what account looks different. Tell me what account feels original. Tell me what account feels like you're getting something unique. That's what's killing it. And so it's for now, I'm like, by the way, make your money, do your thing, whatever people got to do. Well,
I'm also fascinated, like with doing a little research for it. Like, I can't fathom the amount of money some of these girls are making, like $65 million. And you kind of do the back.
Who's making 65?
Like the top earner on OnlyFans, made like $65 million.
Okay. Have we not talked about this before? Do you know the number one used website on the planet is Google. Do you know what number 2 is?
Pornhub.
You bet. Yeah. So are we that surprised? No, I'm not.
But isn't Pornhub free porn?
Apparently people are happy to pay for an upgrade. I mean, that's what OnlyFans is. Do you know OnlyFans? Did you watch the Olympics last year? Yes. That poor fucking pole vaulter. That guy, it's like his penis knocked off the bar. It's like this guy's glory moment, incredible, like years of practice and training, and all they're talking about is his penis. But OnlyFans offered him $250,000 for him to share a photo of his dick. Yeah. It's like, by the way, we should look up if he did that. I don't think so. I don't think he did, but that's the kind of money OnlyFans is making. $250,000 just on one dick pic. Wow. But that's what's happening. So. Wow. And by the way, maybe she's fine, but I got to tell you, I know a lot of rich people that aren't very happy. So if she's happy and has that money and can live with it, kudos to her.
Well, yeah, but the problem with the internet is shit never goes away. So even if you decide and maybe fuck it, I have this money, but I can't imagine. And maybe it's changed. Maybe societal norms are changed. Maybe guys in their 20s are like, well, I don't care that, that's what she did. I mean, we have this money.
Go back to my Arnold example. If I had an OnlyFans page, would he let me be
I don't think he would have.
I agree.
I think Arnold is protective of his brand.
As he should be.
And as he should be, because he is his brand. And, I'm sure like that, he got caught in that kind of marital deal with like the illegitimate kid, but like he never not denied the kid and just raised the kid. And like, you see the kid out there and he's proud.
He came to one of our pump club events.
Yeah. But so, I mean, like everybody makes, but it's not like he ever did anything. It wasn't like he, didn't do the right thing. I mean, shit happens.
You know what gets me? There's so much shine put on very specific people that are public facing. I'm like, does everybody forget the fact that Kevin Hart was having sex with somebody that wasn't his 7-month pregnant wife? Did you hear that story?
No.
Okay. Chris Hart's wife was 7 months pregnant.
Chris Hart?
Kevin Hart.
Oh, like the little black dude?
Black guy. What name did I say? Kevin Hart.
Okay. Yeah.
Kevin Hart was having sex with somebody that wasn't his wife. She was like, and because like The Rock is like best friends with Kevin Hart, everyone just forgets it. Everybody makes it okay. Adam Levine got caught like publicly with this girl that's not, again, his wife.
Wasn't his
pregnant.
wife one of like the Victoria's Secret like angels?
Yes. Yes. So he's dating a supermodel angel, again, pregnant again.
With his kid.
Yes. And this other girl, he's got this thread with her, like, I'm going to name the baby after you. And you're like, and by the way, nobody cared. Everybody let it go. So why do certain people get stuck with it and get shined on?
No, I'm not shining it, or I'm not throwing any shade on Arnold for the fact that like this is more. I mean, like stuff happens, right?
No, yeah.
I didn't know that about Kevin Hart, but
but again,
I just assumed all of everybody in that scene had kind of low moral character.
Which scene?
Like the whhole Hollywood kind of like music.
John, that's adorable.
I just thought, not everybody?
No way. You think people in Hollywood have more integrity?
No, less.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I just thought like the bar, I just figured that was Hollywood music. Like everybody was a piece of shit.
Oh, and then I would say no to that as well. Because I work with some top musicians and they're the best people I've ever met. The great, like I have, one of my.
Well, I know you work with John Mayer.
Yeah.
He's not married.
Nope.
And he gets connected to all these girls. Like it seems like when they break up with their boyfriends, they date John Mayer. Perfect. What a great fucking shtick he has. I'm like, he could be the rebound guy.
He's one of the world's greatest men I've ever met. I've had women treat me with more disrespect than he has. He has been thoughtful, generous, supportive.
And he's an incredible guitarist.
The best.
I
best
saw
of his
him,
generation.
Yeah. It was funny. One of the clips came up with Dave Chappelle. You remember where they did the thing where he was like playing the guitar in the barber shop and they're like, turn that shit off. And then he goes in and they do like the mosh pit in the restaurant. Great one.
Yeah.
And it put into like a John Mayer kind of like YouTube, like it just kind of like gave me the catalog.
Oh, sure.
And I was clicking on like a bunch of stuff where he just absolutely melted people off the stage with his guitar.
Yeah.
And he's into cool Rolexes.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. I was like, and then the hilarious part is, and I know we talked about this, like the fact that like the Swifties are still against him and he hasn't dated her in like, what was it, like 20 years ago he dated her?
She's on stage when like, my past is my past.
Yeah.
I can move forward. You can move forward kind of thing. And the girl, like the kids aren't ready to let go.
And then they're still after John Mayer.
Yeah.
I was like, he's not married. It's not like he has a family.
No, but
I feel like if you, and this is purely just me as a dad, right?
Yeah.
Like when you have kids and you get married, like that's important. And because here's the deal, at the end of the day, like, one, you don't want to embarrass yourself, but you also don't want to embarrass these women and these people that like, that's fucking makes them look like fools.
What you represent to the world represents your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But like he's got this amazing channel on Sirius XM and it's called Life with John Mayer. And I remember he'll do these ramp ups to songs and he'll talk. And he said like, I'm looking forward to the days where I get to wash crayon off the wall. That is something that is important to him and he's very public about that. And I think dating is much harder for anybody in the public eye.
Sure. But
like I said, like I've been with John for probably, I want to say we're over 4 years now. And I'm the newest person on his team. Like his tour manager has been with him since 01, 02. Like you don't have longevity and loyalty in your team without being an incredibly good, moral and like special person. Like they love John and John takes care of everybody. Like he's the best. So it's just funny. It's like, if your ex-girlfriend dates John, it's because John's an incredible guy, not because he's, taking taking your seconds, like, going in for the kill.
No,
like,
it feels like a girl breaks up with her and she's like, this guy seems pretty good, and he's good with the guitar.
Fantastic. People gravitate for John for very good reasons. So anyway,
well, I mean, like it wouldn't be the case if it wasn't so.
Yeah. But here's the thing too. And you talked about like all of his videos and like you melt your face off. Like, yeah, he's incredible. But like what's as fun is like if you go to a show and he just did a big solo tour, it's all the conversations, it's all the talking in between, it's hearing his thoughts, it's his jokes, it's the way he relates with the audience. Like he just has you giggling and relating, and he's such a smart communicator that you're just literally in your living room with this like magnificent player. But like obviously the songs are great, but like it's the connection that everyone can feel in the room, and that's why he's a superstar.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's why he's playing at the Sphere right now. He's Dead and Company. I mean, like he's got, it's wild. Which, by the way, you got to go. We talked about that. You got to go.
I know.
Anyway, digressing.
I will. I would definitely. Not that I don't love Summer Strong, but I'd much rather go to that than Summer Strong. I've been to Summer Strong for a lot of years.
Yeah, but you know what? Lee Haney's coming this year. And I'm a big Lee Haney fan, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah. Well,
I hope it's a wonderful time.
I'll send you a picture. God, it's different for you though, because like I said this on the phone to you. I don't know if it's the same experience for you as it is others. Like, if I'm getting like too much people contact, like, I just like sit in a corner for a minute and I take a break, or you don't get 1 minute off. It's like your wedding day, and everybody and you're obviously hard to hide. Like and
then there's people standing in line, and like and the other one is I don't like to ever be rude to people, so I give everybody their opportunity to talk, and like totally. and then you get to a point where I'm like, I cannot talk about training anymore. Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot. Well, but that's the graciousness of you. But I'm glad you're going to take the year off.
Yeah, I'll take the year
hopefully
off.
Hopefully you'll go. Listen, I took.
You did?
I took time off, and then I went back, and I felt rejuvenated and ready for it.
Yeah.
Did you do Widerstrom this year too? Oh, let's see.
Yeah, and then it was and Widerstrom is cool too. It just
my favorite Widerstrom is
when
we
get to drink coffee. Like we're in your van drinking coffee, and it was super cold out.
I like roll up my little Tommy camper van. I'm in there. Where it's raining all weekend, and I just get this like tap on my door window, and it's John comes in, loads into the van. We've got coffee going. Yeah. You were there. We were talking like we had an hour of coffee in before we even started.
Well, this year it was like 80 degrees.
Was that better or worse?
I think it was worse.
Yeah, I'd rather have it.
It was I would have it be cold, so then it feels like winter, but it was hot. It was really hot. And so what people don't realize in that land, it's sand. So it's like pine trees and sand. So there's sand everywhere. So like it just gets like it's a weird vibe. Like
sand's my least favorite texture.
Yeah, sand and pine trees. Yeah, like you're not growing anything in that.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like
so explain like obviously Arnold brought you into his team as Aptus, and now you're in town teaching a deadlift clinic tomorrow. Yeah. So are you and
Kate going to be able to come by?
I will.
Okay. All right.
So Kate is in Dallas with Jamie.
She's like my daily inspiration. Whenever I'm like, I don't really feel like it today, Kate's like kicking up 55s. She's like, oh, let's go. You know what? I had a question. I was going to ask her, strong. But I'll ask you. Why does she box squat to a pad that's squishy?
So what I don't like people doing is I don't like them bouncing off of the box. So by using that pad, it's almost like a controlled eccentric, and I don't know why she's box squatting.
I have my girls box squat. I love it.
Yeah, so she, I don't know why she started doing it, but when I watched her do it, she was kind of like, I like people to go down and like kiss on the box.
I decelerate, kiss, and
right,
she was.
But just a lot of people I've seen like collapse.
Yeah.
And I didn't want her to collapse, so I got that pad, and I just was like, the minute you feel the pad, that's kind of like the slow down, you touch and go.
That's cool. Yeah, it's funny. I think so. I teach. I'll get back to your question in a second, but I teach women's like lift club every Saturday, and I did a probably a 4-week cycle where we were squatting to a bench, like, just a regular bench, not too high, but like if my girls are taller, I haven't put like a ab man on top of it. So we're not hitting, we're like at parallel, maybe like an inch above. to help them feel the load of a bar.
Yeah.
And by not dropping below parallel, it's like they stay in that strong spot of their hips and their legs. And so they can kind of touch, like, I'm like, I need you to show control. So you're touching and you're driving and really feeling the load on their spine and their core. And then we took the benches away and we brought depth in, and they're just like, you know, it was exciting because, like, you know, if someone, let's say their max is 120, you can put 150 on the bar and feel the load and go part way and get that partial rep in.
Well, the other one, and you know this, is a lot of people really struggle with the idea of sitting back. So I sometimes think that, like, the box squat's kind of an interesting piece if they don't understand that position,
right,
where they can kind of sit back a little bit. That was one of the things I found with the jits guys.
Oh, sure.
Like, they were so used to going forward with their knees that actually, like, the box and, like, giving them, like, a target, like, I want you to sit back towards that box, was just kind of a different movement.
Well, it's like getting authority in your body with the space that you're using. And so I think it just gave them like a proprioceptive awareness of, like, oh, my body's going this way, I'm okay. So the bench becomes almost like a spotter. But then they're getting, again, there's nothing like a bar on your back. There's nothing like feeling that weight. And so getting it off and then going back to full squats, it's like 120 doesn't feel so scary anymore. So part of this is like an emotional, training. It's like, I've done 30 pounds more than this. I've got this. And so they're going to go with a little bit more confidence when the depth comes back. So anyway, well, I just was wondering why it was squishy, but that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just because when I watch people box squat, and also the box that we're using, like that Sornex box, it's so hard that, like, when people go down, they kind of like almost kind of not plop, but they hit it. And I think it, like, just wasn't the response I wanted. So that's why I put the pad there, so that they can decelerate kind of. It's just, it's a control issue.
Was it boys or girls that were having that hard response?
That was the girls.
Girls.
So they were like plopping on the box, and then the problem was their trunk was breaking.
And yeah.
All right. Instead of like keeping that like extended position where you sit back into your hips. And so I got the pad for them, and then I was like, oh shit, this is really good. We might use this a little bit more.
I want to like workshop. I don't want to do it on camera because I want to show you. It's a while what I've been doing with women's pelvises, but the short of it is, like, if women tend to immediately, so if my pubic bone is facing forward, just like I'm sitting with you, women tend to tilt backwards immediately. So they close off the front of their hips and they go down that way. Yeah. So I'm away from the mic. And so what I'm trying to do is I just tell them squeeze at the top first. And with Kelly Surratt was, because I was doing it, and he's like, just squeeze, like engage your glutes first. So just by engaging.
So the cue that I give is try to pretend like you're trying to crack a walnut between your butt cheeks.
Oh, so you, okay. Yeah, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, no, Kelly stole everything from me.
Kelly? God damn it.
Yeah, it's funny, like the toes forward, you know, like the big toes forward thing.
Oh, I don't know that thing. Teach me.
Yeah. So the idea that, like, you know, most people squat with their toes out at like anywhere from like 15 to 30 degrees.
Yeah.
What we do is we teach toes forward, big toe on the ground, because the glute doesn't fire if the big toe's not pressing to the ground.
Thank you, Cal Dietz.
Cal Dietz, which we all know. And then that big toe forward, because if you think about training athleticism, and then when the feet are this way, the knees track over the insteps, and it's a much more athletic position.
I'm going to play with that.
Yeah.
Getting a little more. What's so funny, just because with my hips, I do feel better with a little bit more of a turn, but I've been playing with the foot position.
Well, what you do is you turn your toes out, and then you just move your heels out.
Ooh.
So what most people do is they do this, and it narrows them up. What I have people do is I have them squat a couple times and their toes open, and then move their heels out this way.
I'm going to bring it to Lift Club.
And then when the knee goes down, it has to track over the instep and it has to track over the big toe.
Understood.
So what happens this way a lot of times is people drive their knees or their knee collapses this way.
Yeah.
So
that's fine. Okay, I'm totally going to play with that. Yeah. But all I was saying is that because if you do the walnut crack, right, if you go here, it just changes the trajectory and the use of your glute. Like my ass is sore for the first time in an entire life of lifting from squats, because I always flared, and I always squat low bar, and that was just college sports, move the weight.
It's called like the hip flick.
Yeah, but what's happening is most women, when I try to get in that position, they end up tucking, which is losing that core connection, versus when you do the walnut, like you said, it's like, it changed. Yeah, we're doing it in our seat.
Yeah, no.
We're Kegeling as we speak.
What's so crazy, and the whole time I drive, I actually hold that position when I drive. I hold the dead bug position when I drive in the car.
Get out of here.
And I see how long, and I end up doing it with breathing and talking the whole time I'm driving. So there was a funny story behind it.
Okay.
I used to live in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I had like one of those like 90s Broncos. And so I'm parked.
I just bought a Bronco.
Oh, did you? A new one?
24. Yeah, it's not as cool as yours.
Yeah, so I had like a 92 Ford Bronco. I'm parked on, I think it was 275. Like traffic slows down. I come to a stop. All of a sudden, I look in my rearview mirror and I can see this car coming at me pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I got nowhere to go. And all of a sudden, I see them kind of lock it up and they're skidding.
Yeah.
And they stop. And I'm like, oh, thank God they didn't rear end me. The person behind them rear-ended them, and the car shot underneath me, and my truck shot up and ended up on their my rear differential on their windshield. And I was holding the steering wheel in my dead bug position, holding this. And when I went forward, I snapped the steering wheel in half.
No,
like it buckled.
Oh, by the way, that would only happen
to me. Yeah, like I break it like this. And so the paramedics, everybody shows up and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. And the guy's like, dude, he's like, were you flexing and waiting for this thing? Because you broke the steering wheel. I was like, I saw the thing deal, but I like kind of stay in this tense position. And I ended up, I didn't break my face. I didn't hurt myself.
Well, by the way, that ripple, that energy went through your body,
into the
which
steering
was
wheel.
Rigid, and your steering wheel would have been your lower back or your neck or whatever.
Think about my job. Like I punch people.
That's true.
So I was like holding it and it just broke. And like the steering wheel was like, went forward and I was fine. The poor lady that was underneath my fucking car was wrecked. The other guy, they had to take him away. And I was like, the guy's like, are you okay? I'm like, my neck's a little tight. And then they went and x-rayed it. My neck was like straight as a board. And the guy's like, oh, you know, like your neck's a problem. This is from the whiplash. I'm like, no, it's from playing in the NFL. But if you want to like give me some free massages, I'll take them.
Yeah, you're like, go ahead.
So
that's crazy.
But they fixed my car, which is good.
That's crazy. Well, thank God.
Yeah.
It was fixable?
Yeah. Well, they put a new steering wheel on it.
Oh, that's true.
And like, because
but didn't the guy come up on it?
But my truck was high enough that when the lady got shot, she was in like a Honda something. She shot underneath me and the tires went up and then like the diff was sitting in there. So, I mean, I put my car in drive and just drove off of her.
Oh my God.
And they were like, hey, is the car totaled? I'm like, no, everything's fine. Drove home in it. Or they had to like tow it, but I had to get a new steering wheel.
Tight ass dead bug that kept your car together.
So I can that position of being able to hold that like top ab down and be able to squeeze your glutes and like pull everything in. Like that's how you end up without hemorrhoids. So I'm firmly
without hemorrhoids. We're going that far.
I think what happens for a lot of guys. Remember, Ed Cohen had that idea of like spread your taint and like push.
Oh my God.
Where those guys were pushing against the belt, like West Side style.
Yeah.
I think when they push against the belt instead of pulling everything in, I think that's where guys get hemorrhoids and they get tears in their abs. So I've never had any hernia. I've never had any ab tear. I've never had a hemorrhoid. I've never had any of that stuff. And I squatted 800 pounds.
So here's what's nuts. I started playing with that. And I mean, I'm all vanity now. Of course, I want to be strong and youthful and vital. Also, want to look hot. Sorry. I really don't like the shape my stomach started to make from that pressing out.
Yeah.
So I'll play with the lats, the activating the lats and the sternum, like he taught us at Summer Strong, whatever, a year or two ago.
Yeah.
But pushing in, my core started to build out.
Yeah.
And I really didn't like.
So you have to pull your belly button to flatten your spine.
Yes.
And then that position. So I know.
Just squeezing my butt, my abs go. Whoop,
yep.
Well, and I was like, ooh, that's the shape I want.
So when you squeeze your butt and you pull everything this way, that's, I think what it does is it creates like a breath belt, let's say, like a breath belt, like around your body. Like,
I've never squatted this well. Like I can't get above 115 right now. Like I'm still retraining, but I can feel my core and my ass like never before in that position. Yeah. The new one that you gave me, which by the way, brings full circle to the Pump Club. That's why like we're doing these in-person events, because there are people that are from beginner to advanced that really haven't had these kinds of conversations. And they're like, anyone listening right now is like probably in their car being like dead bug, tight, squeeze.
Well, if you go to YouTube and you type in Power Athlete Dead Bug, and I think the video is called The Only Good Bug, or The Only Good Bug is a Dead Bug.
Hey, Super Troopers.
Super Troopers.
My man.
Yeah. Which is one of my favorite movies.
Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the guy's name? The teacher that becomes, it's not Rip Torn. It's he's in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Love him.
Let's see, Starship Troopers.
Because he loses an arm.
Yeah, that's his name is.
He's
Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown. God, it's good.
Yeah, that's who he was.
So YouTube, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Dead bug.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so but on that dead bug position, and so what we end up doing is once you set up in the dead bug, and I teach it from the ground.
Yeah.
So the ground is a reactive force, like you're pushing, like you're basically trying to paint the ground with your low back, and then you pull your belly button tight, and then at that point you start moving your limbs in different patterns, and the idea is that you're using your limbs to challenge posture and position.
Yeah.
And it's really it's an easier way to teach it. So like,
I'm going to look at it.
if you want to do it tomorrow, we could do it. But like what we do is we do the prep, and I can teach that position on the ground and the reactive nature. And then also when you change the orientation, you take them out of this like vertical standing orientation, you put them in a different orientation laying on their back. For some reason, their brain learns in a different way.
Well,
and then you stand them up and you're like, just do that dead bug.
And you're like, find it again. But I think that's why I'm so glad everyone's really coming back in person doing stuff, because there's that, but like to get them to like just to tap, like my clients are always like, you and your pointy fingers, because I'm like, no, more here, more here, lower, and talking and moving and like creating this. We have another guy, his name's Nikolai, Uncle Nick on Instagram, but like he's a strongman guy. He's like a middleweight. I'm not quite sure the areas, but he's like, the way he's teaching our, people in the app, like how to trap deadlift and what to do, like thinking of like the energy of your feet, your pinky finger, this and that. And so it's like, I don't think anything will ever replace the hands-on teaching.
Yeah.
But if you can help it.
I think what happened was we were going towards this kind of like virtual deal, and then lockdown happened and everybody got a big dose of it. And I think now the problem is like with the rise of AI and the rise of the influencer, I think like in-person events, and I think actually having a person who who they are with a little bit of integrity is going to come back. I think it is coming back.
So then how do you feel about the direction of some of these events? Like I don't want to, I think any effort is good effort in wellness. I think we have a very sick, fat, country.
One of the things that seemed to just pop up this week, and it forced me to have to sit down and like put some game planning together. But the GLP-1s.
Okay.
So I had a guy on one of the programs. It's like, hey, I lost 75 pounds using, I forgot like the name that he gave for it, but like it was a GLP-1.
Yep.
And the guy made a point that when he started losing weight, he got really greedy and all of a sudden stopped like doing everything because he just wanted to lose. He didn't want to be fat anymore. So lost 75 pounds, lost all of his strength, lost muscle. And now here he is trying to rebuild. Yeah. And the interesting thing is if you eat a high protein diet, you continue to lift weights and you do those things and look at it instead of like a hare and more of a turtle, where you take a lower amount and you kind of spread it out over 16, 20 weeks and you eat a protein diet, you lift weights and you're smart. Like it can be very small incremental, but what happens is a lot of people start losing the weight and they see these results and they just get a little greedy. And I think one of the issues we run into is I think there needs to be like a course and a little bit of programming. Like, hey, like instead, like one, this isn't cheating. I think a lot of people, I can't say that, but for a lot of people that have always struggled to lose weight, like here's an opportunity to do it in a safe way. One of the negative videos I saw was that it causes such slow release of food out of the stomach. Some guy lost like 120 pounds, went in to get skin surgery to kind of clean up all the loose skin. And he had so much food in his stomach because it was so slow digesting that he ended up throwing back up and dying during the procedure. So the idea is that now
feels extreme.
Well, but now you're in a situation where like now they're saying, hey, like if you're on these drugs, like don't take them 3 to 4 weeks before surgery so you can actually get some gastrical emptying.
I think what the GLP-1 community needs is support.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people that can use this as a really helpful tool. The way like my vitamin D levels are in the gutter right now. I'm taking a supplement. I'm not cheating.
Oh, no,
I'll tell you, but
I take like 10 to 15,000 IUs of vitamin D. I want it to be in the 80s.
Right. Okay. So,
yeah.
But like most women, I will say that I've spoken to all feel like they're cheating and they're afraid to tell me.
No.
And I said, it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's okay. Jordan Side actually just came out with a podcast on this about like going through what this is. And I think it's a really helpful tool, but there needs to be more support around it. So people are like not hiding. People are hiding behind it because they're afraid to be judged, or maybe they're just judging themselves.
So the greatest risk factor for mortality in this country is obesity. Mm-hmm. Right? Like 80 to 90% of all cause mortality is a result of obesity. So like it's kind of like the war on drugs. Okay, we've already proved that we've lost it. They probably need to pivot it in some way, or they need to do something to do the change. The same thing with like the obesity thing. Like now here's a situation where you can make a life change. The issue is there's stigma attached to it. And I think the reason that they're attaching stigma and they're putting a lot of negative stuff, I think in like a tinfoil hat way, I think it's the food companies who are losing massive amounts of money because of the hyper palatable foods that they're doing. So much so that now the food scientists are trying to design foods to combat the GLP-1s to make them so hyper addictive.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's a real thing. I mean, like at the end of the day, like if you're a publicly traded company, the one thing you can't do is lose money. So if now all of a sudden these GLP-1s come out and people are eating less and now you're losing money, these companies are like, shit, we're losing money. How do we fight these? So they either got to do negative press. So you're going to see a lot of stuff about how negative it is. And I had Doc Parsley on the podcast, and he's like, I think that, for all the side effects, or if here are some side effects, not a single one of them weighs more than actually what looks like systemic inflammation for obesity.
Correct.
Fat's extremely oxidative. One of the issues, though, they keep talking about is like if you lose, the weight that you lose is going to be a combination of muscle and fat. But if you eat a high protein diet and somebody coaches you and you lift weights and you do some of the other things and you do it a little bit slower, you can totally mitigate this stuff.
Yep. I just feel like, to your point, more programming / support around what to do is going to be extremely helpful for that community that's into it. And it just because most of the conversations I'm in, people don't know what to do. And so they don't do anything, or you'll find them because they're on a bigger dose. Their appetites are so low. I mean, I always prescribe because the doses are taking so much appetite away. And my protein shake for breakfast, protein shake for lunch. If you can put chia seeds, fruit, anything in there, whatever, and then have a meal with your family. Creating meal normalcy in your household is so important, especially for these parents with kids. That's because like they're just not eating for days, and so it's like the dosages are too high. Like they're getting greedy. What they found is even a microdose. Like I forgot who told me this, but like a 0.25 gram, which is a tiny microdose. Yep. Helps cognitive.
Yeah, gets rid of food noise.
Yep.
So like that idea of like, hey, I'm hungry all the time and I get this food noise. It just kind of...
It's gentle. It keeps you... I mean, listen, like I do a fast like twice a year, and...
How long do you fast for?
I do. It's a clinical fast. It's Prolon. So but it's like, so you get like crackers, a bar, some like soup. It's more about autophagy. But by the way, like autophagy is achieved by lifting weights as well. And every time you sleep, so
100 times. So
I'm so aware.
So whenever people talk about autophagy, I'm like, exercise and lifting weights is the best form of autophagy. So, it's way better than starving yourself.
Correct.
But I do think that fasting in very small amounts, like, so I fast like one day a week on like a Saturday.
Oh, so you'll do a full,
Yeah. So I'll eat dinner and then I don't eat till the next day.
Yeah.
And then,
And my parents did that for every week of their lives, like through like the entire 80s and 90s. Like it was every Monday they had, they basically had dinner Sunday night and then ate again Monday night.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's great for you. But like I find it's as much of a physical benefit as a mental for me because of what you said was food noise is like, I find when I procrastinate, when I'm stressed, when I'm emotional, I'm walking toward my pantry and I'm like, can't do it. And so it's a good awareness exercise for me more than anything else. Like I don't have weight to lose. I'm not trying to lose fat. I like it as a mental exercise. And I put it in my week. I'm starting at Monday because I know things have been really spinning up for me and I need to slow down. And when you're also in a fast of any kind, you're not going out to eat. You're not going out making plans. You know what I mean? Like my workload's a little lower. I'm like, I need some stillness. And so it sounds funny, but by doing the fast, I get more out of that piece of it than anything else. Now, I think there's real value in some people that like are on a weight loss journey, trying to kind of get I do not call this a kickstart, but it's going to help you reevaluate your behavior with food. I like that personal audit for anybody.
Sure.
But to your point, that small dose, it softens that signal from your brain. It softens that feeling in your stomach.
How would those GLP-1s been received in The Biggest Loser if those were around at the height of The Biggest Loser?
I mean, I think then even more because weight loss culture was scale. You know what I mean? There was no non-scale victories on that show. It was only what the scale said. I think it would look like cheating. It would look like the caffeine pills with Jillian. It would look, you know what I mean? It would be categorized that way. But that community of people really respond well to it.
Yeah.
They need it. Anybody that's bordering type 2 diabetic it's so helpful.
Yeah.
So it's like I was injecting peptides into my knee to help when I dislocated it.
Yeah.
Why is it any different?
Yeah,
this is the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, if you really want to go deep.
Isn't it a peptide? I think
Correct.
the GLP-1's a peptide.
Correct.
Yeah.
But like, okay, fine. Breast implants, you're cheating. It's like, wait a second.
Why is it breast implants are okay, but butt implants are not?
John, I think it's just...
Me?
No, I think butt implants just...
It looks like a baby that's shit in their diaper.
It doesn't work. I just think that butt implants visually don't work.
Well, the reason being is that the butt meat has to match the thigh meat. If you look, think about this, right? Like if you look at sprinters or you look at any girl that's got a nice butt, the thigh meat and the butt meat always match. And then the problem is, what throws me for a loop with the butt implants is that the ass meat, and then they got these weird like thighs, and you're like, dude, it just looks like a dumpy diaper.
So Power Athlete's coming out with a GLP-1 program and a BBL hamstring support program.
Yes,
Is that what I'm hearing?
100%. So what?
It's true because it's like chicken legs and they just go too big. So I don't know.
We up in the gym, I reached out to my buddy, to one of my friends who's like a big, trains a lot of ladies. And I was like, hey man, is there like a really good hip thrust machine? Because one of the issues we were doing is more hip thrust because when they more glute activated, but also unload the spine. So we were using them as kind of a deload.
Oh.
The problem is that I got like 600 pounds in the bar and I got this thing wrapped around me and I'm trying to use it. And just the mental, emotional, physical gymnastics of trying to get into position with this fucking thing. It's too much.
That's why you almost need like a pit shark or something like that. That's a really easy way to bottom load. And
So we have a belt squat, but I wanted to make something more glute. So we bought this one from Matrix.
Okay.
And it's been pretty fun. We've been using it a bunch.
I want to see.
No, it's rad.
Okay.
And you can load the shit out of this thing, you can put bands on it. And so we've been doing it. And I realized that very top where you go into full kind of lockout and you kind of squeeze, I can't replicate that any other way other than that machine. I can't replicate it.
With your heels down behind you and up.
Yeah.
One thing that I've been playing with my clients, guys and girls, I'm using, and this is from my friend Chris Powell. So he made this tempo clock, and it's basically you're looking at 60 seconds of work. That's the set. So fuck reps. But for 30 seconds, you go in the eccentric on the glute, right? You can do this on lunges. You can do it for bench press, whatever, anything. So down, 2, 3, full expression. Down, 2, 3. And then you keep them on that pace. And he actually made a counter so you can hear it while you're training.
Yeah.
And then at 30 seconds, it goes like beep, beep. And then you just go full range at full tempo. Mm-hmm. And at this point, you close to booty lock. You are already getting there.
Yeah.
And then the moment you can't quite get full extension of your hips, then you go back to tempo. Mm. So maybe now we're at 45 seconds. It doesn't, you cannot push that. If the weight is correct, you cannot lift a minute. Mm-hmm. So then you get to that full reps, you start to go, you can't quite get that expression. Then you go down, 2, 3, up. You do 3 reps, just like that. And then your last rep, you hold the top for 5 seconds. Mm. Let me tell you, my butt's never been better. Yeah. It's so using the tempo around it. And I think that's like you said, the mental gymnastics of getting in and getting the weight right.
Dude,
I just have to I had to slow down, and that's been helpful.
The problem is we just started loading it up too much, and the bar and the balance and this, it was just too much. And then I got this pad that was on the bar that bent, and I got all this bottomless ancillary shit. And I'm like, you know what? If we're going to do this, and so Victor Hugo, who I train, one of the top ultras in the world in BJJ, Victor has an L4, L5 issue. And for some reason, no matter how much lunging, whatever, he never really gets any glute activation. And it's something that we've done, we've really focused on, standing at the top with belt squat, doing marches, finding everything. He just struggles to activate it. And I think it's injury deal. This machine, the way that we've been using it, he's like, oh my God, like he goes, I didn't know what ass soreness was.
Yes.
And then, but it's also not that top part. It's more like the lower part where it connects to the hamstring, where you're almost, if you do it right, you feel like it's going to cramp.
That's what I'm saying. It's booty lock. Yeah. It's a sprinter term. Like if you, the 400 runners, they'll get done and they'll just be like, bloop, because they're in spasm from working that muscle so hard.
This machine is the best one we've seen.
I want to try it.
But it's also, what's funny is it's designed for bigger people, because some of the ones I went to a few gyms, and all the ones felt like I was like trying to fucking origami myself into, because they're designed for women.
What is this, a house for a school for ants?
It's got to be at least 3 times bigger. So this one shows up, and I'm like, I had to order it. It took like 5 to 8 weeks. It finally shows up, and I'm like, fuck, this thing's massive. And
I was gonna say, it's a big footprint, gotta be.
It's got a good, it's big footprint, and we can load the fuck out of it.
Yeah, but it's so funny. I was at Gunner's gym. Did I tell you that we're doing a podcast, Gunner and I? Yeah. I'll tell you about that. Me, Gunner, and Luke Milton. We don't have a name yet, but it's we already started filming. It's great. But Gunner, he's built out his gym. He's doing construction. He
does have the fucking raddest gym on the planet.
He's building a whole other wing there in Nashville. He still has like 12 container trucks. He's like, I use all of it. I rotate shit in. I rotate shit out. I don't care how big it is, small it is. You've seen his gym. It's a bit of a clusterfuck. But
shit everywhere.
Everything has a purpose.
Yeah.
But he's the guy. I mean, he's the tinker.
He's the man.
Yeah. So fun. Good.
You know what? Gunner and I run in spurts. So like I'll see him, like for some reason he'll like text me or hit me up, and I'll talk to him a bunch, and then I won't hear from him for months.
Yeah.
And so I always got to reach out to him every so often to make sure he's doing well. I think
this last year has been really a differentiator, because with Monroe, his now 5-year-old, got a very, very rare leukemia.
Yeah.
And it's so wild. He and I were talking last week when we were filming the podcast, but him leaving LA was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because you don't. LA is synonymous with Gunnar Peterson. He is the trainer's trainer. He is the celebrity trainer.
Yeah.
Like the only reason
Beachbody DVDs.
Dude, I have a picture of us. It was called 14 to Lean. I was his fitness model. That's how we met. Like 10
for Beachbody.
I don't know if it was Beachbody or who it was for, but he's been it forever, and it's like the only reason I have clients or any other celebrity trainer has clients is because Gunnar wasn't available. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and I mean that lovingly. And so. Anyway, him leaving was a big deal, and I know it was kind of a tough shift for them initially. And then when Monroe got sick, it's like they couldn't have been anywhere else, and they're at Vanderbilt Hospital. And Jess has been like a rock star there's so much to learn. And also, have you met Monroe?
No.
You got it. This kid, she's a Peterson.
Yeah.
Like she's a very she's very smart. She's very in tune. She's very strong.
Well,
anyway, I think he's been out of touch a bit more because of that.
Yeah. But he has older kids.
Yeah.
So he kind of did this, like had kids, grew his kids, got married again, and then had more kids.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Henry, Jack, and Sloan. So Sloan's in college.
Yeah.
And Jack and Henry are out. So they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
And then Zane just turned 9.
Yeah.
And Monroe's 5. Yeah. 8 or 9, something like that. Yeah, so he went back.
Yeah.
He went back.
Dude, he was like, let's do this again. Reboot 2.0.
I mean, Gunner's the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he 90 now? I always make fun of him. No, he's in his 60s. It's fine though. He's got more energy than me. Even when I go, I always stay at the house with him.
He is an incredible shit talker.
It's nobody. Wait till I show you the teaser for this podcast. Like it is, I go, great. We actually don't have anything valuable in this teaser because we're just talking shit on each other the whole time, but it's fun. Yeah. Like it's going to be a good giggle.
Yeah, no, he lands blows on you if anybody else were to say it, you'd be like, I'm hurt. But for some reason, Gunnar gets away with everything.
Dude, he's a shiv in prison. You just don't see it coming. And you're like, God, that was pretty good.
Dude, so he was on our podcast, and unfortunately, all the cool information that I know about Gunnar and all the side conversations, sidebars, he just went fucking stone face on me on the podcast because, he's got a lot of clients.
Yeah.
So not that I was hoping for him to go and give me the tell-all book and stuff, but it was pretty funny because he was a little guarded.
Nope. Yep.
And he has to be, right?
You don't get that far by spilling the beans.
Dude, he trained Stallone, the Kardashians. I mean,
dude, Brady, Tyson. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he used to go play golf with Bruce Jenner.
Yeah.
I mean, Like,
no. He's the man.
Yeah.
No, this will be good though, because like I've said this to when I say argue, I'm using quotation fingers. I was like, dude, you got to share the stories. And I'm like, but you don't have to share the names, but you got to tell the stories. You know what I mean? So it's to me, Gunnar as a database of stories and experience and just like carnal knowledge of what our industry has gone through decade over decade, and bring something to the table that I don't think anybody else can say that they can do. So he's just, to me, like the legacy of health and wellness. Like he knows it all.
Well, think about how many actors he got in shape for movies.
Oh my God.
I mean, like Stallone Cliffhanger.
I know.
Is like my favorite one. Like that was the most Jack Stallone ever was in Cliffhanger. Like hanging on.
You don't think Cobra? I think hottest Stallone is Cobra with the toothpick.
Yeah, but I mean, do you remember him in Cliffhanger? Like
here's the problem with Cliffhanger.
He was
John Lithgow is a bad villain. Okay, I just didn't believe it.
I don't buy it. So, I completely agree with you in that. But what was the other one
even
that he
more
was
than
in?
The Rambos?
What was the one with Sharon Stone where he was the hitman?
Oh, not Basic Instinct. Assassins. And Antonio Banderas.
That was the most Jack Stallone ever was.
Dude, Stallone's hot.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time watching him have sex in King of Oklahoma, Tulsa King.
Yeah.
Tulsa King.
I think it's his best. Honestly, it's some of the best Stallone I've ever seen.
I just don't want to see him have sex.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, we could pass I'm not into it.
I feel like he's matured into playing this like mobster gangster, which is who
totally
he was
works.
always destined to play.
No. It works. He's a great actor. I mean, like Stallone is Stallone. Like you cannot replicate that guy, his acting, his talent. He's amazing. But yeah, I don't know. Like Gunnar's just been through it all. And what's fun is like, I don't think you've met Luke Milton, but he's like the founder, owner of Training Mate. So he was a professional rugby player, like starting in high school, he was playing pro and then started to make this like group fitness business. And so now it's like, you've got two guys, like very different categories of wellness that bring like such a richness to like the perspective on, you should look them up. Yeah. I was going to say, are you doing that now or no?
Yeah. What's his name?
Luke Milton, Milton. And so it's kind of exciting intersection of where, you know, we have so much to give back to an industry that's given a lot to us. And I think that like for all three of us, there's been a lot of people that have shed light on the path for us, and we want to give that back. We kind of want to gas up trainers and that our profession, like Rogan has gassed up comedians in a way. Sure. But also there's this concept that I feel like a lot of people kind of stop trying. That's us.
There you are.
Yeah. But they kind of stop innovating.
Is it just called three brains, one questionable idea? Is it just called talking shit?
I mean,
that's what it should be called.
Talking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Gunnar, I want to call it dead at 30 because people start to die. People at 30, they start to quit. That's when people start stopping. They stop innovating. They stop trying. They stop investing in their health. They stop, you know what I mean, pushing those boundaries. It won't be that name. Talking shit's not bad.
No, I mean
Gunnar wanted to call it like lift this, not that, or drink this, not that, like something like that. I don't know.
Whenever people ask me about Gunnar, like, oh, do you know Gunnar Peterson? Like, and I'm always like, dude, probably one of the greatest shit talkers I've ever been around, and his ability to land blows in a way that is not considered adversarial in any way.
Correct.
Like I've seen him land blows on me and other people to the point where, you know, you're laughing and you're like, that's fucking good stuff.
That's fucking good stuff.
And whereas like, I can't ever imagine anybody being offended. But
here's what's good. Really funny people like that are very, very smart. Like the best comedians in the world are the smartest people. And you look at Gunnar, like this isn't a guy that's been like passively getting by in 40 years of a career. Like he speaks multiple languages. He grew up around the world. Like he has worked for everything he's gotten. He has so much texture in his personality because he's lived a very full and dynamic life. Yeah. And so also I would say all these huge celebrities go to him because it's like, to him, he's like, oh, I know way bigger fish than you. Do you know what I mean? And that you get to be treated like a normal person. He's not falling over you. You come in, you work hard. Even in Nashville, and the time I was there, he had like 2 NFL guys, some other guy that literally flies in every week from like Rhode Island or Jersey or something. Like there's nothing like what you get there. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's fun and it's funny, and I'll like I said, I'll show you the teaser. But I like your I kind of like your name idea.
Yeah, talking shit.
I'll text I wonder if there's is there a podcast name?
I'm sure there is but I do it like talking like CHIT, and that way you just change it a little.
CHIT?
Like shit. CHIT. Shit.
Is that a real?
No, but I like.
Do you mean SCHIT?
Yeah, but you could change it into CHIT. So talking shit, and then it wouldn't be, because I'm sure there is a podcast called Talking Shit.
Doesn't matter.
You could just do a play on the word.
Oh.
So I'm just looking for a little bit of branding, a little creativity, a little bit of something that you could just set.
We're gonna need your big brain on this. Let me tell you, listen. We're part of it too. John is like
two dudes and one chick. What was it? What are those comics? Two bears, one cave.
Yeah. With Bert and Tom. Yeah. Great. But that's also like, being here this weekend where I wanted to like do this podcast. I haven't been here in a minute, and just the idea of getting to sit with friends and piece through things and tease through ideas and talk through, like, this is the best stuff. This is like what I look forward to in my life. It's what makes going home really fun for me, and living the life I have is because I know I get to come and have conversations like this. And, the thought of like meeting them every couple of weeks to do this, like, it's like, it's fun. Yeah. And I think that's the point you get to. And the secret that no one will tell you, because you have to get there to know what it is like when you're in the game long enough, when you're in your field long enough, and you start to really wake up to like what's exciting to you, what's important to you, you realize all that matters is who you're doing it with. Mm-hmm. Because it's like whoever. People are going to be smarter than me. People are going to make more money than me. It doesn't matter. Like, I know who I am, and I know who I love, and I know who makes me better. And I want to just stay in that. I want to stay in that orbit. And that's where I want to like double down my time, my energy, my output. And I think there's nothing like conversation like these to make you relevant. Cause that's, going back to the death of the influencer. For a long time, I've gotten to this place. I'm like, well, what am I doing to put myself out there? And like, Instagram is not a platform that I like to do that on. Like, it doesn't feel congruent to who I am and to the way I coach. But like the thought of being in more long form like this and having conversations and down to talking about our favorite X-Men, like this is far more fun and more interesting. What
just to kind of rewind on the conversation a little bit, you said that a guy that who's married with kids has an OnlyFans where he does his workouts naked.
Yep.
Why?
To be honest, I'm afraid to ask him. I love him, and I know him and his wife, and I want to reach out and be like,
why?
What's up here?
Because are there a lot of women that are subscribers on OnlyFans? I would imagine I don't know. Probably a lot of gay men that are like, I can't imagine a bunch of women are logging in paying $5 or $15.
It's definitely gay for pay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes,
like if you're looking at it, I'm sure they give you the demographics, and you're like, wow, I got one female subscriber and I got all these dude subscribers, and then you're like, okay, I'm working out and I'm doing this. Yeah. Are these guys working out with me, or are they just sitting there like, I don't know, viewing it as some like weird porn?
I mean, I know what I think the answer is, but
I do too.
Yeah. So that's tough, and that's each person's like, it's the piece people have to make for themselves. But that's what like, I couldn't do it.
No, it feels weird. Do it.
I'd rather go back to bussing tables. It was my, and it's nothing about what this person's doing, but like, it was my first job I ever did. Like, I will find a different job. I will figure it out. And you have to like, there is a piece of, I think, being in the public eye and then changing that like scope of being like, oh, I'm, imagine me bartending in Hollywood and it's like, weren't you the girl on Biggest Loser? It's like, yeah, I know it's fucking Phoenix too. I don't care. What do you want to drink? Like, cause I know who I am, and I know that I'm valuable, and I know that I'm loved. And so I don't have to worry about those factors. But for a while I would have. Do
you ever meet people in LA? They're like, oh, what's your OnlyFans?
Oh, that's my number one DM request. OnlyFans ? OnlyFans ? And you can see now people are putting out commercials for like, so it's like, there's a girl I've known for years. I used to mentor her, and I was like, she was like in kind of a weird lingerie thing with high socks, and she was doing a headstand with a wide straddle. And I was like, what is this photo? Why would she post this? And I like look in the comments, and it says, click for more content. Click my link and buy. And I go there, and you see it's the OnlyFans link. So now you've got like little bait like advertisements within your feed to get people there.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying was that like people that I've fallen for, like fitness influencers, people that you follow, and then all of a sudden like you see like the content take like kind of a different turn, and then like you're like, or you go through and I'm like, and then you click the link in bio and all of a sudden it takes you to the, and I'm like, oh, like, so that's kind of what I was asking you. I was like, like this is the death of the fitness influencer, where now it's this transition into the digital sex worker.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I was trying to influence people and, do training and make people better. Fuck that. Now I'm just going to like, and I
guess my question is what makes people,
and I don't know what they do. Like, is it just like naked workouts, or are they, is it porn? Like and what's crazy is, I missed all of this stuff, right? Like,
no, we were lucky. You
like,
and I,
like dating apps, I know, but that didn't exist when I was single. Right. Yeah. So like that stuff didn't exist. Like OnlyFans, like a lot of this stuff came like circa 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, like those, like that was, I just kind of missed all that. I've been married and I got kids and I was in the NFL. And like, so I feel like the rise of this stuff has just been in the last bunch of, like, let's say 15 years, 10, 12 years.
Yeah. I think that because of that, I mean, I'm on dating apps, so I just makes digital interfacing more familiar. Right. So that's why I don't think some of it's that much of a stretch for people. But I do get curious about the current psyche, that what makes it okay for each person to step into that digital space, and of like an OnlyFans or, whatever other systems are out there. But then also like, what's the long term? What's the, you've got young women that are on there, and then do they become married? Do they become mothers? Do they parents? Like, does that affect them long term? Like, I don't know the rules of OnlyFans. Can you take screenshots? Do you save the photos? Like, to me, and I don't think it's a matter. This does not reflect anyone's value. Like, the girl that's making $65 million a year is no less valuable of a woman than I am.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know that I could process in the mindset that I have with relationship and saving these intimate pieces of myself for specific people. Like, I don't know how I would manage. I don't know how I could consolidate those thoughts into one place for me.
Sure.
So that's why it's like you go into, and that's why I think the rise of in-person events are coming too. People are really lonely and they are coming out. That's why people are coming up for the Pump Club this week. And that's why people come to my lifting class every weekend. That's why people stand in line to talk to you, John, at Summer Strong. They want the connection. They're ready for people. And so I worry that things like OnlyFans just keep people more separate. They keep them apart. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was, I was talking with my brother. Our family kind of suffers with depression, and we have a lot of kind of mental illness that's run in our family for years. And there was this article about depression and walking and what that does to your brainwaves. And he wrote back. He's very, very smart. You would actually really get along with him. And he's just like, yes, movement, sure. But he's like, but it's more about changing the space that we're in.
Yeah.
And he goes,
just getting outside and walking.
To get outside of he's like, we hide. We contain ourselves. We, what's it called? Like seclude or.
Well, the one thing that social media does to me, and I get occasionally, if I'm aware of it, it doesn't happen, but I find myself sneaking up on me, where all of a sudden, like I'll be looking for something or something happens and I get stuck in this algorithm loop.
Me too.
And all of a sudden you get stuck in this hole and you start feeling like everybody's ahead of you. You haven't done enough. And like, I feel this like weird sense of like not accomplishing. Everybody's doing more. Everybody's doing it better. This is garbage. Like, what are we doing? And I find this happen and I know this isn't real life. And like, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh shit, it got me. And then I'll click out of it and I just turn it off and walk away and I go do something. But
it's fascinating to hear that even you feel that way.
100%. Like,
and you've done everything 10 times over. Like every field you've chosen, you've excelled. And now you hit Instagram on a random Wednesday and you're like,
I'm such a piece of shit.
Yeah. Like, what am I doing now?
Yeah. Like, oh, I can't believe that I'm wasting my time looking at what everybody else is doing so much better than me. So, and then like it like I'll find myself like not paying attention and I'll get stuck in it and I'll start scrolling through and looking and then I'm like, holy shit, it totally just brain bugged me. Like, you remember like in Starship Troopers, remember the brain bug when he sucks his brain out? Mm-hmm. That's what happens. I get brain bugged. And then I have to like turn it off, walk away, and then just go do something else, or I got to like get back to what I was doing.
Here's a concept to consider.
No, but it's also we have the distinct honor of remembering what life was like before all this. Like when there was a phone in the house that rang and you had to go over and answer it, pick it up and be like, hi, this is Jen, this is Widerstrom home. And you had to take notes and you had to talk to people. Or if you wanted a pizza, you had to call and talk to the Domino's guy and get him to deliver a pizza in 30 minutes or less, or it's free.
Yeah.
Or we would like watch cartoons to be able to see what the newest toy was. And then...
Did you have any siblings growing up?
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers.
Okay. Did you guys race to the bathroom at commercial break? Because like
No,
you have
we
a
go pee
commercial.
outside.
Oh God! See, we only had 2 restrooms, 3 kids, and it was a commercial, and it was just a survival of the fittest. Whoever could get the pee in and get back before the commercial. You know what I mean?
But there was also like, if the show started and you weren't watching it, there was no way to rewind it.
Without you.
It started without you, and there was time things. We knew that the shows were on at this time, and when they were done, we turned the TV off and we went and did stuff. So like there was, I remember going to the grocery store and like walking around and being like, I didn't know all this food existed.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, yeah, that's why I don't bring you guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, that's why I go shopping when you're at school.
So
and she
true.
just goes buy stuff. So, I remember riding like us getting on bikes and riding around the neighborhood and just going to where all the bikes were at our friend's house and being like, oh, I guess everybody's there. And then you just knock on the door and you went in and you played. So like all of this time that existed, we still have this historical knowledge of what life was like before all this shit. And so I have a perception, but what if you're like kids today? I mean, I hate saying like kids today, but like my kids don't remember a time before this.
Yep.
They don't know what it was like. I tell them, I'm like, there was a time when there was no cell phones. We would just go do stuff and we knew we had to be home. And they were like, how would you know? I'm like, when it get dark. Like literally darkness was like the universal, everybody got to get home. We're like, oh, it's getting dark. Everybody goes home. Now it's like.
I mean, I remember going to Italy with like a backpack and my passport. Like, I got to find this hostel. I got to find it. I remember an internet cafe. You had to pay to send emails out to let my parents know it was okay. Yeah. There's no maps. There's no anything. I had to use my own courage, my own reasoning. But there's a concept I want to talk to you about because...
Do you remember like when MapQuest came out and you had to put it and print stuff out and then tape it on like your dash?
The dash, of course.
Right? And then you're like over there and you're like, holy shit, I got to make 2 rights and a left in this. So to this day, I'm always like, hey, MapQuest it. People are like, what the fuck is MapQuest?
MapQuest. I wonder where they evolved into. But there was this concept I was reading about, and they were talking about how why is it that only a few mammals, like a very few, let me start over. There's very few species on the planet that once the female gives birth, that they continue to live beyond.
Penguins.
Okay.
Penguins, and there's a couple birds,
some whales,
and there's whales,
humans,
and they're like there's certain species that mate for life.
Well, but it's not just mating for life; it's about mating after pregnancy. So why is it that humans and whales, killer whales, are obviously a dynamic part of that group? And I guess they found some. What was it like? There's some chimpanzees in Africa. I'm not sure which country. And they were realizing that why are these species necessary? Like why do women keep living after menopause? Right? Our reproductive purposes are over. Mm-hmm. And what they're deducing is it's to carry the species forward. Mm-hmm. It's to be the grandmother killer whale, to teach the babies how to communicate, to circle.
Well, but we also lived in smaller groups where you've talked about this before.
Yeah, yep. Yeah. So what I take that, and as you were talking earlier, I go, maybe we're like the grandmas of our fitness culture. Yeah. Because you're looking at Instagram, what am I doing right now? Well, it's not really what's coming up next. It's what you know that you're designed and basically necessary for passing down. And I think that's male. I don't think it's gender specific, but we need you. We need Gunnar. We need me. We need DeFranco, right? We need everybody to say, this is what came before us and this is what's happening. And this to kind of guide our species of like fitness influencers because there's a lot of people that are getting lost. And I mean, like I said, people that mentored me and got me in the business are no longer in it. That's weird to me. I'm like, how am I the last one standing? Yeah. Like in my fitness culture, in my fitness circle where it started, I'm one of the only ones left. But we're necessary if our culture is going to go like forge ahead into really good things. And I think that has to do with, you said the way we grew up, but also what wellness has done I think any culture needs leadership, and that's what this is. And whether people listen or not is not up to us. You know what I mean? Like, I think the people that are going to make it a long time are listening. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, people just they take themselves out. It's like it's any other faction. It's same. It could be actors. It could be people that work in job trades, electricians. Like, if you're listening, if you're working, if you're doing it, you will sustain the test of time. Like, you will be the Gunnar Peterson, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, and now you are on that list of names, like, because you've been doing it for a really long time.
Almost longer than I played in the NFL.
Correct. Like, that's wild.
Fucking crazy to me.
Like, the fact that your NFL career now is such a thing of the past that you've almost, time and a half it. You're at least 15 years, which you could kind of, because of your experience, really put in those years into your fitness pedigree as well.
Somebody asked me this recently, like, if let's say I got hired, because I've been approached, like, periodically I get approached where somebody's like, hey, I'd like you to come, basically work for me, CEO of my company. Mm-hmm. And so I've had like a couple interesting offers, and I always wonder if I did that, if I would erase a digital footprint. Like, if all of a sudden, it didn't exist, if all of a sudden it would just be like gone fishing sign and kind of scrub it off, or would it just continue, or would you take it in a different direction and still keep it just because it is an informational resource? Or would it be like, let's say somebody said, hey, I handed you $100 million. Would you continue to do what you're doing, or would you just delete every digital footprint you have? And I thought that was an interesting piece. I'm like, I think I would always continue to have this information as a repository and be able to put out information, just because I think this stuff is interesting. And I think that if you can influence people in a positive way, there's so many negative influences. And there's so many people, like, to be able to offer some bastion of hope. And also, when we started talking about fostering developing athleticism and the technology for power athlete, people weren't necessarily talking about training for athleticism or being an athlete. And now all of a sudden you look, and it's now, I think, a big part of the internet now, people are like, we're the only athletic training site. We're the only form of training that, and I'm like, come on, dude, we've been doing this shit for a long time.
I think I told you this story once, and I wish I remembered who it was. It might have been Judd Logan. We were talking about workouts, and I was like, I was doing this thing, and he was like, not really getting it. And he goes, just show me what you're talking about, and I'll tell you what we used to call it. And it was like, I'm not the one that came up with this, am I? And it was a really great way of not only putting me in place in a very loving way, but like, no, I got it. But just, I'll tell you, it's iteration over iteration. There's a line of which I walk, that what level of what we are doing, or what am I doing, I'll speak for myself, is passion, and what level of it is responsibility. Yeah. I don't think for $0, I would keep doing what I'm doing. I don't get paid to teach my women's lift club. I just do it for free. And 20 women come every weekend. So I love doing it. So it's not about the money, but I would tell you what I would give to be George Clooney and not have an Instagram. And you want to see me? Go see my movie. Mm-hmm. You want to hear what I'm about? Listen to my podcast that I did with John Wellborn. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is a freedom that I will absolutely achieve and am after. So, full digital footprint, no. But if you collect what I'm doing, okay.
So does Arnold have a, he has Instagram?
Yeah, he has an Instagram.
Does he actually run the Instagram, or does he have people around him that run it?
He, like my father, I don't think is savvy in the, the uploading, but everything, it's his words, it's his stuff. And even in the app, when you see Arnold Schwarzenegger's name in red, it's Arnold in there. So he's on his iPad, and he handwrites anybody he's responding to, he's there with. And he, we write articles every week there. So when it's Arnold, it is Arnold. Is Arnold actually posting on Instagram? No, but it's his words and the photos that he was with. So it's there's that.
So much like your dad, I always imagined, not that Arnold and I would be great friends.
Oh God, here we go.
But I always said that if I got the chance to hang out with Arnold, I would definitely hit him with every single question that I ever wanted to ask. I never really thought about we'd be friends. I'd be like, if I ever got the chance, I would pepper him with every single question. I'd even say to him, I got a whole bunch of questions I want you to answer. Any of them, you don't want to answer, or more importantly, if you feel bored or whatever, just tell me and I'll stop. But I need to know these three things.
You should join the Pump. We do Q&As every week with him.
I would love to, but it's all historical stuff.
Like what?
I want to know if when he was fucking with Lou Ferrigno on Pumping Iron, if that was just for Pumping Iron, or did he always mess with Lou?
Oh.
And then like some of the stuff, like I would have loved to have known, just like because I think Pumping Iron was obviously a movie. I'd love to know like what's true and what's not would be an interesting one. I'd love to know some of the backstories from Commando and then also Predator,
like behind the scenes, what's happening, hanging out.
Yeah. I would want to be like, what was it like with Jesse Ventura? Like, did you have there had to be some good friction. Yeah. So like, and then like with Carl Weathers, and then like, I want to know about Belushi on, when he was in, the movie where he was like the Russian who was the cop, which was called.
We can do this. Don't look it up.
It's not. It's
it was the big steam room fight.
Not Red Heat, but Red.
No, it's Red Heat.
It was you're right. Red Heat, when he puts the rock in his hand and punches the dude. So like, there's like a whole bunch of questions I have. And I want to know about, because Arnold's got such a good sense of humor. Like, oh
my God, the funniest.
Wilt Chamberlain. Like, think of the dudes that he starred with in movies. Like, I'm fascinated by that whole piece. Yeah. Because I've been an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Like, I watched Conan. I've seen Red Sonja. I've seen all of his movies. Like even the bad stuff, like the Kindergarten Cop.
Whoa, that's not bad.
It's not the Tuma. Right? Like,
you remember it.
Like these are all great movies, but I feel like growing up in the point at which we did, there were two things that made me want to lift weights. I think I've told this before on the podcast, but I was 10 years old, and we were there's this thing in LA called junior lifeguards.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So it's if you grew up in LA. When you're a kid, about 9 years old, there's this thing called junior lifeguards. And what it is it's like a lifeguard apprentice program where you go in at 9 years old and you go back and these lifeguards teach you and you run and swim. And it's a big deal. So for my buddies and I, we'd ride our bikes to the beach, we'd do junior lifeguards and we'd surf. I was probably 10 and we were at like one of the aid stations and they were teaching us CPR. And all of a sudden we heard like this like mass of people making all this noise. And we like looked thinking like somebody had fallen on the boardwalk. Sure. And we were like kind of like, kids like watching. So we walked down there and it was a guy walking on the Strand and people were like literally getting out of his way and making like gasping noises. And it was Lyle Alzado, who played defensive tackle for the Raiders, was wearing a tank top and a set of shorts. And his chest was so big, you could have put a like soda bottle on it, right? Just fucking massive. And we were like, yeah. And he like looked at us. I think he like stomped and chased us off as kids. But I remember being like, fuck, I want to be big and strong. Yeah. Like that dude was big and strong. Yeah. And every situation I was ever in, whether it was any of these movies, whatever, the main character always looked the part and he was capable in this. And as a kid, you're like, well, shit, like these guys look like they got it figured out. They can handle every situation. Like you're watching Commando. Right, with Schwarzenegger, right, where he's on the plane and he like breaks the dude's neck and then jumps out. I mean, like you're like, this guy can handle anything. So like, if he was like a little like I don't know, stick figure, like like I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, John Wick stuff, but John Wick doesn't look like Arnold. No. Right. So that's more like, he does jujitsu and guns and all this. Like fucking Arnold would have done all that stuff and looked the part. So I think it would just be fascinating to talk to him about like growing up in that culture and like some of the interactions, because he was on set with some of the most interesting people on the planet.
I think what's fascinating about him and what the privilege of what I now have as part of his team is I'm quite an observer and a listener of him. He's a very intentional person, and he, by the standard of Hollywood at that point, had no business being on set. Yeah. Right. Who is this guy? Right. It's not that muscular bodies were popular, and so he stepped in. He stepped in when it was very unpopular, when he was a fucking joke. Yeah. When like, who are these fucking idiots eating? What are these guys doing? Yeah. And he is. To me, he is like gravity. And to watch people around him, it's not because of its fame, it's because of who Arnold is. Yeah. And that is the legacy that if you are within any degree of Arnold, being around him in the room or actually having a privilege of the conversation, which one day I hope to at least get you side by side to ask at least one of your questions, but like you realize he's special. He's an observer. He's smart. He cares. He's committed. He has a vision and he follows it. He's not lip service. He does the fucking work. And there is something about that aura that no one can escape. And that's what made him one of the most desirable people to work with, work for. There's a reason why how many presidents, you know what I mean? Like he's a special guy. He's very smart.
He starred in every single one of my favorite movies.
Come on.
And we always would joke with would this movie been as cool if Arnold wasn't in it?
I mean, I laugh now because I'm like, my friend's like really into Jason Statham. I'm like, what? The English guy with 3 lines I'll do the job, like beekeeper, the mate, like I'm like, but this is what's happening. And whereas like Arnold, like the way things were, and that's where what was going on during that time of film was just so fun and so different, but also it was our time.
Well, I mean, think about the Terminator stuff. I mean, I think he had 3 lines. But like his physical presence and what he was able to do. I mean,
by the way, that's hard work. There was a great interview with Val Kilmer in his documentary, R.I.P. Val Kilmer, but talked about his role as Batman.
I'm such a Val Kilmer
fan.
Mardigan
forever. He was so. Did you watch the documentary on Prime?
No.
Please watch it. It is so beautiful.
I'm fairly convinced that Val Kilmer embodying Jim Morrison was like the breaking point in his life. Like him coming in, I mean, to the point where he went in and sang the vocals and the guys from the Doors couldn't tell what was Jim Morrison, what was him.
I have chills.
Oh yeah. It was, I mean, but if you look at it, like after that moment, I don't think he was ever the same.
But like you got to watch the documentary. Okay. It's so touching. It's so deep. There's so much to him that you just didn't see on the surface. And, or it wasn't perceptible, I would say, as just a fan, a moviegoer. But he talks about like the Batman suit, and he was his least favorite job because he couldn't do anything. You can't turn your neck. Yeah. The lines are so few and far between. You're very and you got to think that Arnold in that same position as Terminator, like you're very contained. There's not a lot that you can do. So it's all physical presence. It's all physical acting, and it's a talent. It's a skill that like cannot be understated. I don't know if I've told you the story. I was asked to audition for the movie Thing 2. It was basically like the prequel to like the original, and they needed someone to do suit work to be the monster, and a man was like too big for the suit, so they needed a strong female. And I had a guy that worked on Gladiators that says, "We're doing this thing. Come here. You're perfect." Because you have to wear this whole upper body rig, and you have to like run through you're tackling. Yeah. And I headliners, I did not get the job, but because I was like, I looked like a girl wearing. I looked just like a weird. I was like not even. I wasn't believable because I didn't know how to like do the character, and I was like, I'm just a strong person. I can do push-ups and sit-ups, kind of a thing. And like there's so much when you are contained in the physical form, and to portray that kind of strength is like, I don't know. So it's impressive. People are like, oh, he had 3 lines. It's like, dude, some of the biggest acting. Yeah. Like, anyway. Yeah. I digress. So. No,
I cannot imagine a better situation for you. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. I think it's awesome.
It's just really neat. Like you know, we started with it, but I just, I feel like it's fun to just be,
on a team.
That's it.
I feel like you were a free agent for a long time, and I like I could hear it in your voice, and it's nice. I mean, it's fun to play on a team with a bunch of other like killers and a bunch of other people that are going to
people I trust that have the same values, that believe in, like, we're very heart forward, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, and there's something in it when thousands and thousands of people are.
It's not like you got like a month in and they handed you the OnlyFans contract, and they're like, "Hey, Jen, we're gonna need you to do this," and you're like, "Fuck!"
No, I know. Like, it's like my dream job. I get to do everything that I love to do, connect and help, and you know, be myself and stand on 60 years of a legacy to help further the health dream and system that I know will really help people, not just from a physical but like an emotional mental standpoint. So it just makes me excited and like hopeful for what's to come. I even wrote Adam, I go, the happiest thought in my life right now is knowing that I'm on your team. Mm-hmm. I know, like, it's few things make me happier,
Awesome. I'm excited to come see you tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Oh, can't wait to have you.
Well, I got to cut it there.
I know. Sorry.
It's all right. No, it's been great. So as always, I love sitting here with you, and we always have great conversations. So hope you guys digged it too. Thanks for tuning in to Power Athlete Radio. Hey there, Power Athlete Nation. Big shout out to all the heavy hitters who stuck around till the final whistle. If you've been soaking in the knowledge bombs and epic tales we've been dropping for free, here's your chance to be a game changer. Swing by ko-fi.com/powerathlete and toss a few bucks our way to keep the podcast fueled and firing on all cylinders. That's ko-fi.com/powerathlete. Your support makes a difference. See you.